Like buying Ethereum at $1, like buying Polygon Matic at 1 penny, and like buying Solana at just a few dollars. These altcoins, I believe, have the potential to absolutely explode this narrative. It's time to discover crypto. So of course, guys, Bitcoin's sitting at $49,000, almost breaking through $50,000 today. But before I show you the narrative that is going to absolutely explode, take a look at what our CNBC had to say today.
It's been a bit of a wild ride because we talked about sort of selling the news or selling the rumor, buying the rumor, selling the news. But now we've come back to buying.
Yeah. I mean, look, the verdict's in, right? Wall Street doesn't just like Bitcoin, they love Bitcoin. If you think of these assets, there's been over 5,500 ETF launches in history. Never have we had a fund get to $3 billion in AUM in the first 30 days. BlackRock and Fidelity both just did it. So two for the first time in history. And then if you look at Bitwise and 21 Shares, ARK, they're both going to hit $1 billion this year or this week. And so now you have 4 funds that are going to hit $1 billion of inflows. But the most interesting part of this is the inflows. I mean, these funds are doing $500 million a day of net inflows, but there's only 900 Bitcoin that is actually coming into the daily incoming supply. And so when you look at that, that's like $40 to $45 million. There's 12.5x more demand for Bitcoin than what's being produced on a daily basis.
Wow, 12.5x Bitcoin, 12.5x, guys. We're coming up to this Bitcoin halving, which is almost just 60 days from the time this video was produced, to see the supply get reduced in half. So the demand, guys, $500 million. We're seeing billions of dollars flood into these ETFs. It is a lie that mainstream media try to act like Bitcoin ETFs were a failure, when in fact they're the greatest financial products that we have ever seen launched. They're the only ones that have hit billions in this type of range, and it's not just one ETF, it's multitudes. As you can see, ETF's daily grayscale outflow was obviously the FUD narrative the media was trying to pursue to drive down the price of Bitcoin just last month after the announcement of the ETFs. Of course, guys, we've seen that net inflow and outflow completely shift. So while that outflow took place for a brief moment, it's now almost completely gone, and we are seeing only upside to these markets, which of course is what's propping up the price of Bitcoin. We're getting this short squeeze, right? There's more demand than ever for Bitcoin, and that demand is only going to increase. So Josh, what are you talking about in the sense of this narrative that's going to explode as Bitcoin pumps? Bitcoin is already sitting at like $50,000. This is not early. Well, of course, guys, I'm not talking about Bitcoin going to be the altcoin, because obviously it is the mainstream currency to pump. It is going to be Bitcoin layer 2s. Now, you're going to have to definitely look at this with me and let me know in the comments if you agree with this narrative. But Bitcoin layer 2s, guys, I believe are about to come of age. I've talked about these for a very long time, but layer 2s on Bitcoin, just like Ethereum that you guys have seen in the past, are there to increase the capacity to process transactions. We're talking about faster transactions, more DeFi, more liquidity all being integrated as we see more development and the demand rise for Bitcoin. When DeFi took off in 2020, Ethereum activity exploded and number of layer of 2s started to come out. You guys might most recently know Arbitrum or Optimism. Subsequently appeared offering a superior throughput, lower cost, chain specialization, and dApp utility. So as Ethereum grew, guys, we know this. Layer 2s were the next narrative. You guys are from last cycle. Polygon Matic, I remember getting at a few pennies, ran up to well over $1. Solana went from a few bucks to well over $2, if not like $300. Just absolute madness in that price action, and I expect the same exact thing to happen to Bitcoin layer 2s. This is like getting in on these layer 2s before Ethereum exploded back in 2021's bull cycle. So the few projects that are really starting to take off, guys, there is development. So you guys might know Lightning Network. Lightning Network, of course, is going to be the centralized peer-to-peer transaction that's often comparable to XRP and definitely brings up a lot of controversy, but creates instant payments, scalability, low costs, all through cross blockchains, and was launched by Jack Mallers, who is very famous and notorious in the Bitcoin scene. But what's the biggest takeaway from this is going to be the largest layer 2 that is developed right now on top of Bitcoin, and that is going to be Stacks. This has been around for a while. This is one of my favorite projects. We actually called it at 46 cents. It's now sitting at over $2. It's done over a 400% gain from us since July when we picked it up. But this ecosystem is growing faster than ever. And when we picked it up, everybody's like, Josh, you're crazy. This isn't going to happen. There's no development. Bitcoin's slow. It's outdated. There's better tech. And you're 100% right. I'm not going to lie with you. Bitcoin's infrastructure, guys, is a lot slower and wasn't meant for the smart contract fan transactions a lot of these more decentralized proof of stake networks can provide. However, that doesn't matter in a world of high demand and limited supply. The need for the decentralization, or the need for DeFi and layer 2s is going to increase whether you like it or not. And we've been seeing that a ton with Bitcoin. So for you guys that don't know, guys, Stacks is a layer 2 network enabling smart contracts and dApps to use Bitcoin as a secure base layer. This has been one of the big winners. Of course, most recently, Stacks surpassed, this was just a few weeks ago, its all-time high for the total value locked on the network. You can see that it's now sitting at $68.55 million, which in the grand scheme of things is a very limited amount of money. That's like nothing compared to some of these layer 2s like Arbitrum or Optimism, which are sitting at billions of dollars in total value locked. And that's the takeaway I want to hopefully allow you guys to walk away with from this video today. Because guys, if Bitcoin were to reach a $2, $3, $5 trillion market cap this year, which I do believe it is going to be able to do, just imagine as the DeFi and all of the layer 2s start to grow, even if it captures only 1, 2, or 5% of that overall network volume, we're talking billions upon billions of dollars flooding into the ecosystems. So, of course, guys, the total value locked exceeding itself and starting to hit new all-times is incredibly bullish. It means more money is being locked up into these networks. This, of course, was at the time of the ETFs when they were greenlit, and now with the ETFs seeing more and more volume, guys, I expect the total value locked to continue to increase. You also have another project right here called the Root Stack, which its token, I believe, is tied and pegged to Bitcoin's price, but also is allowing it to integrate EVM smart contract compatible platforms, which means that it can integrate with Ethereum's networks, making it faster, scalable, etc. for its network overall, sitting at a $317 million market cap. You also have a few smaller projects. So just like Stacks, guys, just like Polygon Matic, I have to give you guys a disclaimer here, right? Yes, Stacks is going to be a larger network. It's sitting at like $2.2 billion, but the ecosystem for Bitcoin layer 2s and DeFi is so new. A lot of these projects are going to be a little bit risky. So I'm still going to show you this because this is the narrative. This is the trend that we're starting to push to. But that's where you start paying attention to the projects being built on top of Stacks, right? Just like when Solana blew up, just like when Polygon Matic blew up, you paid attention to the DEXs, sushi swaps, and all of the DeFi liquidity aggregators that were developed on there to make the most money. Those are where after those already pumped 50, 60, 100x, the Bitcoin DeFi layers, or not the Bitcoin DeFi layers, but the Ethereum or Polygon Matic or Solana scalability solutions are what ended up propping up that network even more. So going back to this article, we can see that the feel-good factor extends to solutions anchored in L2s, like Stacking DAO, a liquid staking protocol operating on top of Stacks. So the largest layer 2 network on top of Bitcoin, this is going to be one of their largest projects on Stacks. Right here, it is going to be offering liquid staking on top of Bitcoin through Stacks' ecosystem, and it is already launched. Now, this project doesn't have a token, and it may not ever necessarily have a token, but it does have a point system. So there is speculation right now for anybody that's out there. We have no connection to this platform whatsoever, but if you do connect your wallet and start utilizing the network, there could potentially be an airdrop coming up. And that also comes with the DeFi integrations it has through Bitflow AMM right here. So this is a decentralized exchange for Bitcoiners, another one with no token yet. Of course, like I said, guys, this is a very early ecosystem. So these projects are just now launching, which I'll show you a few here in just a moment, but a lot of these are brand new, and we're seeing hundreds of millions of billions of dollars being poured into Bitcoin's ecosystem. I expect this to only to see continuous development here. So this right here, if you guys don't know what a decentralized exchange is, it is simply just like Uniswap, but for Bitcoin. So where Uniswap is for Ethereum, you have SushiSwap for Polygon Matic, you have all these DEXs for other networks. This is the DEX for Bitcoiners. So looking back at this article here, you guys can see that this DeFi protocol, guys, has seen over $10 million worth of stake tokens locked up. So more TVL, more integration. Bitflow, the Bitcoin DEX we were just talking about, has also announced another $2 million total value locked in its STXT LSD pool, liquid staking pool. And this is going to be bringing more and more volume. Some of you guys might be familiar with Lido, which became the single biggest DeFi app on Ethereum. Some people are comparing these products. But again, just know this is very early on. There's going to be higher risks. So if you look to get into these, just like Polygon Matic and these projects were high risk very, very early on, the reward is there to the upside, but just be cautious and make sure you guys are doing your research and understand there's going to be tons of new DeFi products and liquidity providers being developed. But I am bullish on these projects. Get how many Bitcoiners simply hold their Satoshis. A liquid staking, guys, like, of course, stacking down here, which let them stake for yield and put their capital to use in DeFi, could end up at the center of veritable Bitcoin layer 2 boom. So the takeaway from this article is that more and more Bitcoiners that are just simply holding are going to be able to actually put their Bitcoin to use for the first time ever and start actually integrating and earning a yield on that, which could be very, very cool. So, of course, I know you guys want to know what are the top projects building on top of Bitcoin, which ones am I most excited for, and that's what I'm here to show you guys today. So if you guys go to CoinMarketCap, you'll be able to pick up Bitcoin's ecosystem. This is an entire category where you can just pull it up under the categories tab, and it's going to show you all of the networks connected to Bitcoin. The first one I'm most bullish on is definitely going to be Ordi. This is going to be your ordinals. So if you guys aren't familiar with the ordinals, these are simply inscriptions. It's kind of like the NFTs, but for Bitcoin. It is already sitting at a $1.4 billion market cap. But of course, guys, look how that exploded. It went from $3 to 70 cents in just the last 6 months. So this is bringing a lot of network volume, a lot of demand for the network. And actually, you could probably give Ordis the credit. You have to give them credit. You have to give Ordi credit because they are the ones causing the need for the scalability of these DeFi protocols. We need better adoption, better integration, faster scalability, cheaper fees, because no one wants to spend $300-$400 on a Bitcoin transaction in a high network, demand environment, right? That's going to happen. So that's where these layer 2s guys come in. That's why they're so important. The AMMs, which is automated market makers, your DEXs, these are super important to integrate retail and more liquidity to Bitcoin's network. So obviously Ordinal's going to be the top dog here. Next up, you have Stacks, which is a project I've held for a very long time. This one we've held since 46 cents. Now it's to almost $3 billion market cap. Shout out to everybody holding it. And of course, let me know in the chat if you guys agree with the products I'm talking about here. Some of these, though, I'm going to skip over. Like Wrap Bitcoin doesn't matter. Bitcoin Cash is trash, in my opinion. ICP doesn't really have any integrations to Bitcoin. Yes, it has it natively, but the development for Bitcoin on IC isn't going to be as big as other products at this point, but definitely something to pay attention to. Bitcoin SV is the copyrighted counterfeit version through Craig Wright, so I'm not going to talk about it. Through here, though, I would say a few of them that stand out to me are going to be Orange. I've been seeing this one go viral on Twitter. I don't really know anything about it. It seems like a small DeFi protocol that's integrating a little bit more ease of access. Everybody's been spamming this in my chat, so definitely, keep a red flag up on that one, but definitely has like an app integration and whatnot, and it's called Orange. The marketing around it kind of seems nice, and it's integrated through a few of the larger Bitcoin layer 2s like Alex Go and Ordinal markets already. So could be pretty cool for scalability there. Past that, some of my favorites are going to be Alex Lab. We've talked about this one for a long time. We called it at 5 cents. It's now 33 cents, sitting at a $200 million market cap. Alex is going to be a really cool, again, liquidity provider where you can integrate and earn your crypto as a, on a launch pad, etc. It's got multiple dApps integrated through it. A pretty cool project here as well. But my favorite project, guys, is probably going to have to be Ordi Swap. So you have ordinals, right? We need scalability solutions for all of these new NFTs, quote unquote. Bitcoin maxis might get mad at me for calling them that, but overall, the inscriptions through ordinals, Ordi Swap, which just launched in December. So this is a brand new project, has not been around for a very long time, literally launched at the end of December. I have some high hopes for this. Again, disclaimer, I have this project, but ultimately, this is one of the earlier ones. It's an AMM DEX, again, similar to Uniswap, that's going to be integrating, earning and liquidity and all that here very, very soon for lower fees. So getting some more transaction volume. It's a brand new project, though, so there's not any volume or total value lock that's too significant yet. And I do think all of this is going to change at a specific date. And that date is going to be the Bitcoin halving. A lot of these projects, guys, their upgrades are going to take place with the Bitcoin halving, like Nakamoto through Stacks. That's going to be a huge scalability solution to Stacks. So all of these projects are all kind of already working together because it's such a very small niche. It's so brand new. Everyone knows each other within this little space. And there's tons of other little Bitcoin layer 2s that are starting to pop up now. What I would say is, as another disclaimer, is IDOs coming up. You're going to expect a lot of IDOs come through these Bitcoin layer 2s. Just don't FOMO into those ICO days, guys. Just don't, right? There's going to be so much money that comes in. I expect this to be like the layer 2 bubble and boom of 2021, but for on top of Bitcoin. But overall, guys, these projects, I believe, are going to explode over the coming bull cycle. Again, let me know in the comments, guys, if you agree with this. Bitcoin, I believe, is going to shoot past all-time highs. I think these have the potential to do anywhere from 10 to 50x's in the long term as an industry as a whole. Stacks is already there with the 4x. We already saw a 10x here with Alex, and so we're already halfway there, but I do believe there's a ton more upside potential. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you at the top.